Assalamualaikum and welcome to Kaam Kahani Podcast for the career curious. आज हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं Sami Wahid. He is the managing director of Mondelez Pakistan. Let's talk to Sami Wahid and listen to his Kaam Kahani. Assalamualaikum Sami.
Assalam.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself, sir?
I am doing good. It's been a long time.
20 years only.
So Sami, you're the managing director of Mondelez Pakistan, mashallah. Just take us through your journey over the years, just as an introduction.
So I think we were together. So for the viewers, you should know that Haris and I, we did an internship together. This course way back in 2003 or 2004. At one of at GSK, we can name the company. So we know each other since those times. So college university के दिन थे, and of course university के time पे like any other student, आपके mind में चल रहा होता है कि यार मैं कौन सा career path लूँ. So of course by that before I had started my MBA, so I was also had 2 to 3 options in my mind, and उसमें एक second जो बड़ा strong option था वो था banking का. So I'd always loved numbers, and I was equally passionate about consumers and marketing. So anyways, I ended up taking marketing as my majors, did my masters, and post my masters, I started my first job in one of the a very, very big FMCG name in the country. So my start मेरी वहाँ से marketing की start हुई. So I worked there for about good almost 4 years. And in 2009, I moved into this group, which is Mondelez. It used to be, people still remember it as Kraft Foods. Kraft Foods C. In 2013, the group decided to segregate the grocery and the snacking business.
Okay.
And Mondelez as a company was born in 2013. So in 2009, I got associated with this group. I worked in Pakistan for another 4 years, 4 to 5 years. Then in 2015, I moved into the GCC markets, the same company. So सबसे पहले biscuits category कर रहा था in Pakistan. Then I managed Saudi and Levant markets for a period of about 3.5 years on the beverage category. Uske baad in 2018, I came back to Pakistan in our joint venture business as a marketing director. That was in 2018. Then 3 years as a marketing director in the business. Uske baad pe 2021 mein, I was promoted to be the head of strategy for our MENAP area. MENAP is Middle East, North Africa and Pakistan. So a cluster of 5 strong markets that include Saudi, Gulf, Morocco, Egypt and Pakistan. I did that role for about a period of about a year. और मुझे वो role stretch करना था, but होना था. But then at the start of 2022, I was given this new responsibility of managing the Pakistan business for Mondelez. Pakistan is a managing director. So 1.5 साल हो गए मुझे that I'm now the managing director.
Mashallah, what a journey it's been. तो मुझे एक बात बताएं Sami, so you've been in marketing all throughout, right? But 1.5 साल से you have been the general manager. How have things changed from marketing to general manager?
That's a very good question, and I'll try to answer this question a bit differently. And this is something that I've applied to myself, and whenever any of my team member comes to me, give us few advices, right? 2-3 advices होना चाहिए, उसमें से क्या होगा? उसमें से एक advice मैं हमेशा अपनी टीम को दे देता हूँ कि जो भी role कर रहे हो ना, so whatever role you are in today, you have to think and act for your next role. So for number one, you need to be very clear where do you want to be 5 years down the road. और आज जिस role में बैठे हुए हो, उसमें जब कोई भी conversation हो रही हो, whenever you're presenting something, so present like someone who's a level up. So example, if someone is a brand manager, talk like a category manager. If you're a category manager, go and present like a marketing director, right? So this is something that I've very successfully, I've constantly applied in my life, in my professional career. It's something, of course, I also learned from someone. So when I was, and this is what I did, right? So जब मैं marketing director के role में भी था, so वहाँ पे number one, I was very clear. So I wanted to land myself where I am today. So it's not like that it happened overnight. और मुझे कल पता चला कि
And it didn't happen by chance also.
it did not happen by chance, right? So there's nothing as chance or super luck in corporate world, and especially in an environment which is very, very competitive, and you know how MNCs they work. So you have to plan yourself. You need to have very clear thinking about where you want to see yourself 5 years down the road, and then whatever you're doing today, you need to make sure that you're acting, you're planning, and you're talking like because you have to make your seniors realize that this person is ready for the next role. So while I was doing my marketing director business as well, I was completely hands-on with the other functions. In fact, I led the sales organization of our organization, sales function of our organization as well, for a good 7 to 8 months period, and then I was fully involved in the technical side, which was a plan, because I knew that 3-4 years down the road is something that I want to achieve. Until and unless I'm going to do, I would not take the exposure of other functions, I'll not be able to land myself there. And it was in sequence of that bigger thinking that I took the role of head of strategy for our MNAB.
That's also like a मतलब जनरल मैनेजमेंट से एक स्टेप पहले की चीज़ होती है स्ट्रैटेजी, राइट? वो इट्स लुकिंग एट एवरीथिंग.
जनरल मैनेजमेंट में ऑफ कोर्स you can't be expert of all the functions, right? But what is important is the fact that you need to have a good level of understanding of the important functions. So if you ask me, if you're a marketing director, if you're heading marketing of any FMCG or any organization which is big in size, so our JV biscuit business in Pakistan is huge. We're the second biggest biscuit player in the country. I don't exactly remember the numbers. It's been 2.5 years since I'm out of the business. But we used to produce and sell 4 or 5 billion packs every year. So, imagine the scope and the impact and the reach of the business. So, of course, as a head of marketing, you are very strong in strategy, because when the marketing in FMCG, it's not about doing just putting your advertising up, right? It's about strategizing, having very clear perspective of 3 to 5 years and how the portfolio of the company will evolve, the penetration. It has become very scientific nowadays has been. कि आपकी हाउसहोल्ड पेनिट्रेशन कितनी है, क्या बढ़ाना है, कंजम्पशन फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ानी है, शेयर ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. आई विल नॉट गेट इनटू द डिटेल्स ऑफ इट. बट देन डूइंग दिस, बट वो एक था, इट वाज नॉट लाइक ए स्ट्रेटजी नहीं की भी थी. But then when you're doing specifically the role of strategy, then you're allocating 100% of your time just building those 4 to 5 years perspective of not just your market, your category, but for the other markets as well. तो उसमें INA भी आ जाता है, research और आपकी understanding deeper उसमें आपकी involve हो जाती है. So I really wanted to do that role. I did not like that. I did not knew strategy before, but allocating 100% of our time for a good 1 year really strengthened my strategy side.
So you've been preparing for this role. मतलब you did strategy, you did sales, you did marketing. Obviously marketing, but you're a specialist. लेकिन फिर भी when you became the managing director, the general manager, तो फिर तो सारी चीज़ें सब लोग आपसे पूछने आ रहे होते हैं ना, यार ये भी कैसे करें. एडमिन भी आ रहा है आपसे पूछने, आपसे IT भी पूछने आ रहा है आपसे. Everything is your responsibility. पहले तो आप सीख रहे हैं, चलें पहले एज अ स्ट्रैटेजी हेड या एज अ सेल्स हेड आप दूसरे फंक्शंस को थोड़ा दूर से देख रहे हैं, बट नाउ यू आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर एवरीथिंग. हाउ डज दैट फील एंड हाउ डज दैट चेंज यू?
You feel more responsible. You feel I would not say the weight or the burden, but you feel more responsibility on your shoulders, so that you're responsible to create an impact on many other faces than versus what you were doing before. So responsibility, of course, increased.
So the एक feeling आ जाती है, like when you get that responsibility.
Of course,
you rise to that challenge.
अच्छा, दूसरी एक, that's true one. And number two, good thing about एक चीज़ से पहले before I answer this part of the question, I'm a strong advocate, and in fact myself I'm an example of it. कि इंस्टीट्यूशंस दो होती है आपकी ज़िंदगी में. आप यानी जिन इंस्टीट्यूशन से पढ़ के निकले होते हैं, यूनिवर्सिटी जहाँ से आपने सीखा होता है, और दूसरी जो बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन होती है, और यू आर वेरी लकी if you get the opportunity to be there, is your organization, right? So I feel really blessed that I've been part of this great organization, Mondelez International, because it's an organization that allocates and invests a lot of time on the development of its resources. And I will now coming back to your point, when I got myself into this role as well, so I've gone through multiple training and development programs, right? So in the last year and a half, I've done 3. So, and the one that I am enrolled in right now, it's been taught by the Harvard faculty. So when I got into this role as well, I went through different training programs as well, understanding the different facets of a leader from a character perspective, from a substance perspective, from a parent's perspective. And it's not that you directly get into it. You get into it, or वो आपको एक theoretical पढ़ा रहा होता है. So there's a proper survey that happens with your peers, with your team members, and with your co-workers. They help you to identify your development opportunity area, your strength areas as well, so that it's a constant feedback that is coming to you as well. And then of course there are mentors and there are expert who helps you to rise to the occasion. So this is very important aspect of working for organizations like Mondelez, that they invest on their resources. So to answer your question, and secondly, I proudly मैं भी कुछ वहाँ पे हमारी कुछ कॉन्फ्रेंस थी, वहाँ पे भी बात हो रही थी, तो उसमें you had to define yourself in 2 or 3 words. तो मेरे उसमें एक word लिखा हुआ था, converted extrovert. So I was an introvert person, and you know me. But आप leadership role में आते हैं, so you have to be an extrovert person. And something happened in my life which made me an extrovert person. So I love to build connections as well. I love to understand the experiences behind the faces. Not judging people on their face, but understanding. And this is something that I learned from one of my mentors as well. That at times, to understand the behavior of people, it is very, very important to know the experiences that have shaped up those behaviors. So उसकी कुछ ये बातें ऐसी impact की life में, जहाँ पे मैं कोशिश करता हूँ. I like to interact with people, especially at work, different functions, try to understand their perspectives. So I really enjoy, and then I feel very accomplished if I'm able to give some feedback, some input to any of my team member that would help him or her to achieve or to overcome or to unlock a problem.
Excellent. And I know you as a person who is who makes people feel comfortable and who is a people's person, who tries to go out of the way to understand people. So yes, that is entirely consistent with that. Tell me something, Sami. When you are going through your career, you need discipline. एक चीज़ होती है, आपको discipline चाहिए होता है, right? To stay on the course. ठीक है? How do you develop that discipline in the first place? And how would you advise others to do so?
I read this book, and so I read a lot. I try to read a lot. There's this book which is called Focus the One Thing. It is one of the best New York seller also. उसमें बड़ी मजे की बात देखी थी. And जब बात कम कर रहे थे कि कोई भी behavior होता है, it's a outcome of experiences. It's a very important lesson. So उसमें एक चीज़ बड़ी मजे की लिखी, उसमें लिखी हुई है कि if you follow a discipline of 62 or 63 days, it becomes a behavior, it becomes your habit. So and अभी हम कुछ बात कर रहे थे कॉफी एंड पिल के ऊपर. I told you कि 8-9-10 दिन तक मैंने कहा कि यार I will not go back to tea, and I'll stick myself to coffee for reasons that I shared with you. But 62-63 days तक एकदम बस stretch होता है. But so if you're very clear about and there's another thing that I've read, what they call the phonetic discipline. What is phonetic discipline? Phonetic discipline is about doing something consistently, and consistently and it should have some values, with values and with a long-term objective in your mind. So if you're very clear about your long-term objective, you're very strong on your values, and then you want to be successful in life, you're going to get something out of it. So then you need to follow a discipline of few weeks, and then ultimately become a it becomes your habit. So it's very, very important. So this is what I try to do as well, what I try to bring in my life as well. And of course, I'm not being perfect. The people who are much better than me in this, but being very clear about your mid to long-term objectives, be it for your personal life or your professional life, and then every day, day in, day out, doing things that takes you a step closer to your whatever you want to achieve, is something which is very, very important.
So discipline करने के लिए you have to have the end in mind, your long and short term.
You need to have a motivation.
That helps with the discipline.
The motivation helps big time, and of course priority also, right? So you have to, in your life, focus is very important. The focus book की भी मैं बात कर रहा था.
What is the book called?
Focus the one thing.
Focus the one.
Focus one is the barrier. It's an amazing book. It talks about a lot of great things, and it justifies those things with neuroscience and medical science. And so, then you believe in such theories and concepts, of course, it gets stronger. So motivation, of course, is just very, very, and you need to be clear what you want to do in your life. And, values उसी से drive होती हैं आप, और purpose होना चाहिए. अब एक बड़े मजे की चीज़ मैंने और पढ़ी कि organizations, they focus on generally, people in the organization, they focus on 2 P's. One P is profit and the second P is productivity. But उससे पहले 2 P's आते हैं कि if you get those 2 right, profits and productivity would follow. और वो दो P's है the purpose and the priority.
What about people? I thought एक P तो people होगा.
So this is for the people, na?
Okay.
So this is for
the people. Okay.
This is for the people,
okay.
Right? So the people, they focus on the purpose of doing whatever business they are in, the brands that they are working around, and they prioritize, right? The principle, the very famous principle of 80-20 is very, very important, because your brain has a limited capacity to focus, right? Because आपको पता है आपकी इसी बुक में आपको मिलेगा our brain is 1/50th of our body mass, 1/50th of आपका वो है body mass, and it consumes 1/5 of your calories. So it's like Hummer. Hummer की तरह petrol consume करता है. So
very
focus
fuel
on
average.
It very high fuel average, I would say. So जब when you're fresh, when you have the calories in your body, so in your overall, and because consumption ज़्यादा होती है, so you really need to make sure कि मैं focus, अगर दिन में मुझे 10 चीज़ें करनी है, तो 10 में से एक कौन सी वो important चीज़ है जो मेरी बाकी 9 चीज़ों को आसान कर देगी, या पे वो उनको
you have to prioritize.
Then it gets easier.
That's right. Ajay, Sami, tell me something. Your career of what, 15, 17 years? Something like that. 18, 19 years. So you've been an employee throughout this years. You're still an employee of a large organization. What are the success factors of being a good employee?
That's a very good question. In my case, right, and this is something that मैं इसको बहुत इसी तरीके से काम करता हूँ, and this is one of the value with our organization, which says act like a owner. Right. So if you're spending even a single penny of your business into anything, be it capex, be it marketing or sales, and this and that, you have to spend that penny with the perspective that this is going out of your pocket. Making sure that every penny that you spend, it will bring something bigger back into the business is very, very. So I have throughout my career, not probably the starting person, or not, maturity comes with time and experience also, but for the most part of my career, I've worked with the perspective that this is my business, this is my money, and my business and my job and my work defines me, who I am. And the reason why I'm sitting here today is not because I'm Sami Wahid. I'm sitting here because I'm managing a company, my work, right, and that defines me. So I have been very, very clear about it. So I've never taken my work or my job as something that is a 9 to 5 job.
Sure.
I don't start working at 9. I start at 10, but the काम खत्म होने का मेरे को time नहीं होता. So I've never, for a very long period of time in my career, out of 18 years, 70-80% of the time, I've not worked with a 9 to 5 wala mindset, and I've taken my job as.
So ironically, the way to succeed as an employee is to not act as an employee at all.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you work like this, and because then जो पैशन आपके अंदर वो इंजेक्ट करता है वो अननोटिस नहीं रह सकता वो एंड द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन.
Great point. That's a great point. Yeah. So you do come up and it does something special.
Of course, at times you could be wrong with your suggestions, right? But senior people and people, leaders generally, they are of course more sensible and so they realize that as well. So they can understand the difference of a wrong advice coming because of the fact that you have not done enough homework versus doing your homework and you're very passionate about it. And at times, you do tend to make mistakes. And we as an organization, we highly promote this concept of test and learn. So we encourage our people, at least test and learn. And if it's a failure, it's fine. Forget about it. Move to the next thing. तो वो आप जब पैशन के साथ काम कर रहे होते हैं वो अननोटिस नहीं रहता.
अच्छा मुझे बात बताएं, आप इतने सारे एम्प्लॉयज़ को मैनेज करते हैं, हंड्रेड्स मे बी थाउजेंड. काफ़ी सारे लोग होते हैं उनकी, एंड स्पेशली हमारी सोसाइटी में काफ़ी सारे लोग कंप्लेन बहुत करते हैं. हम लोग कंप्लेन बहुत करते हैं एज अ पीपल, ठीक है, बीइंग ऑनेस्ट. और हम अक्सर अपने वर्क प्लेस पर भी कंप्लेन करते हैं कि अच्छा ये नहीं है हमारे पास, मेरी तनख्वाह कम है, ये आवर्स बहुत ज़्यादा है, या मेरा बॉस बहुत तंग करता है मुझे या करती है. हाउ डू यू डील विद पीपल हु कंप्लेन अ लॉट? ऑफ कोर्स काफ़ी सारे वो ग्रीवेंसेस सही होते हैं तभी वो कंप्लेन कर रहे होते हैं. बट हाउ डज अ कंपनी मैनेज पीपल हु डू कंप्लेन अ लॉट? क्या वो उस चीज़ को बहुत सीरियसली लेते हैं, या फिर वो जो लोग कंप्लेन करते हैं उनको ब्लैक लिस्ट कर दिया जाता है?
नहीं. We are very
and not just I'm not talking about Mondelez right now. I'm talking about from your observation as a corporate player in this market.
देखें, जो भी अच्छी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होती है, they're always concerned about the well-being of their people, right? And when you say the well-being of the people, it has multiple angles attached to it. I'll just tell you and share with you that how do we look at it as a company. And I would imply that most of the other good organizations are also following the similar practices. So हमारी कंपनी में we do surveys 3 times in a year. और एक हमारा एक major annual survey होता है which is called engagement survey. और survey में we reach out to all the employees of the organization. Anonymous होते हैं उनकी जो भी feedback उसमें आता है, by functions आता है.
Okay.
Or is it a long list of questions divided, not in a way of unnecessary questions, but all the important questions covering different angles of the employment of the organization and taking their feedback. और उस feedback के जो scores होते हैं वो scores पर projected होते हैं at a regional and at a global level, right? So if I'm managing Pakistan today and the engagement of our organization is gone down, so it's quantified, then it would not make me look good as a leader in front of my broad organization. So we take it very, very seriously, number one. And of course, जब आपके पास वो feedback आते हैं, by the way, Pakistan हमारी जो is one of the highly engaged organization, touch wood, अब अभी से नहीं है, मेरे से पहले पिछले 4-5 साल से माशाल्लाह से the last 2 years आपने इसको होल्ड किया और बहुत बेहतर किया. So now getting to your part of the question, so उसमें जो भी feedback आ रहा होता है उसमें भी of course उसको dissect करते हैं from a function perspective and understanding कि ये कोई specific area से red zones में हमारी चीज़ें जा रही हैं, तो उनको हम किस तरीके से rectify करें. And then the functional leaders are given the task and responsibility. It goes into their goals as well, that you need to connect with your team better, understand their grievances. So example being, if someone is saying मेरी career development नहीं हो रही है, वो consistent feedback आ रहा है, so उस ग्रुप को एग्जाम्पल जस्ट टू वर्क बिकॉज आपने क्वेश्चन किया, तो उस ग्रुप के वहाँ पे बताने की ज़रूरत है कि what are the right steps in this organization whereby you could grow your career, right? So if you're not growing in your career, there could be reasons because probably you're not you need to probably take more or improve your expertise in the function that you are at right now or in right now, or you may need to make a lateral move into a different function if you want to get to a point. So sharing with them the process or the steps to grow or to improve their career within the organization is something that then the leader and the team members are responsible to do. One, making people realize that the career development, career progression is the responsibility of the individual, him or herself, right? It is not only the responsibility of the organization. किसी की career growth planning, organization, बहुत से लोगों का बड़ा misconcept होता है कि हम काम कर रहे
आप पहले होंगे कर रहे हैं, हाँ,
और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आएगी बोलेगी यार आप आप ऐसा नहीं होता, राइट?
of course.
बट द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन गिव्स यू द वेज दैट हाउ वुड यू गो एंड प्रोजेक्ट योरसेल्फ, राइट? एंड हमारी थोड़ी सोसाइटी में मैंने देखा ज़्यादा है, बट वक्त के साथ आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू सी कि वो ख़त्म हो रहा है. हम लोग ना बड़े वो शायद फील करते हैं बात करने से अपने लाइन मैनेजर से अपनी करियर ग्रोथ के बारे में, या you know, if there's an opportunity that we like to take. So, but generally in our organization now, you know, we encourage people, you know, have to have those conversations not only with your line manager but with the other cross-functional leaders also. Mentoring programs है हमारे कि आप किसी को भी mentor बनाएं, आप उनसे बात करें कि किस तरीके से आप अपने आप को वो कर सकते हैं. So, providing that environment to the employees, so the environment is there, but the stills are all, the complaints are still popping up, then it goes and reflects onto the leader that, you know, now you need to go and you will make them aware. Number one, they should be aware about the processes because everything is available on our internet. But if for whatever reasons that awareness is not there, so help to improve. And then next year we track this course. जो last year जहाँ पे हमारी opportunity areas थे वो improve हुए नहीं हुए. So employees feedback, the action taking of the organization on the feedback is something which is very carefully looked in our organization and in most of the good organizations that I know of.
So Sami, because ये जो आज का episode है, it's about marketing as well as general management, ठीक है? Because I also have some general management questions in my mind. एक question तो ये है, मैंने आजकल मैं notice कर रहा हूँ कि traditionally ऐसा होता था कि a lot of people from marketing used to make, especially FMCGs के अंदर, and even in pharma companies to an extent, marketing used to be the fast track to general management. A lot of people from marketing then made it to the top. Like in आजकल, a lot of people from finance are also, I've seen a lot of finance directors and CFOs become general managers and managing directors. What other functions can we expect in the future कि जो टॉप जनरल मैनेजमेंट के लिए रेडी हो रहे हैं? फॉर एग्जांपल HR, क्या चीफ HR ऑफिसर्स भी जनरल मैनेजमेंट के लिए रेडी हो सकते हैं? क्या टेक्निकल डायरेक्टर्स भी जनरल मैनेजमेंट में हो सकते हैं? क्या चीफ एडमिन ऑफिसर्स भी जनरल मैनेजर्स बन सकते हैं? सो व्हाट इज़ द बेस्ट रूट एंड हाउ कैन अदर फंक्शंस ऑल्सो स्टार्ट एस्पायरिंग टुवर्ड्स द टॉप?
इसका जो जवाब है ना हारिस, वो है the industry. किस इंडस्ट्री की बात करें? I'll give you an example. So if you're in oil and engineering की industry, वहाँ पे even your chief engineer should become, and they have there many examples I know of as well, where they have become the CEOs, right? Banks में आपको majority finance background के लोग ही CEOs बनते हुए मिलेंगे. वहाँ के marketing pure marketers आपको कम मिलेंगे, मुझे होंगे, but I don't know. FMCG में ज़्यादातर आपको examples मिलेंगे कि आपके marketing sales वाले ज़्यादातर नंबर में आपको you'll see them maturing or taking up the CEO roles. And finance के भी लोग हैं, but examples are limited. So in my point of view, it depends. But finance के भी लोग भी they do a great job in FMCG में. काफ़ी examples हैं, but आप उनकी भी अगर आप देखेंगे ना, so finance के साथ साथ in different stages and some part of their career, they would have taken the exposure of some other functions. जैसे मैंने the way I shared about my marketing and then sales and then so वो आपको उनके उसमें नज़र आएगा. बट आप बन सकते हैं हेड ऑफ HR भी बन सकते हैं, जहाँ पे आपकी any organization में human element interaction ज़्यादा हो वहाँ पे. और but it depends on in the industry, and it is very important also. And I think to the students at the college universities and it is one of the element filter that you have to think of when you're picking your industry at the start. कि अगर basis whatever specialization you have done, basis what you want to achieve in your life. If you want to be the CEO or chairman with kind of a position, so picking your industry basis your it's very important जो आपने लिया होता है. अच्छा, अब FMCG में भी it's not, देखिए, for organization like us, becoming a managing director CEO is not the only big thing.
No.
So functional expertise में we have our regional directors for people's team, which is HR, and there is a senior level. So we have a regional director for BU, then we have a senior director for BU MINAP, then we have a regional HR director for EMEA, and then we also have global, similarly IT maybe or finance maybe. Although just to one part of your question, so it's not the only big thing that you become a managing director, but even if because I'll talk about FMCG, FMCG में आप किसी भी function में हो, so if you cannot become a general manager, but you can be a senior director or regional director or global director of that specialized field. So it depends on what you want. It depends on मेरी नज़दीक जो एक बड़ी important चीज़ है ना वो ये कि आपको वो काम करना चाहिए जिसका आपको passion हो. Something where you're very passionate about. So I was very passionate marketer, but I'm sure you would have noticed in the start I said कि मैं जब I was about to start my MBA, तो मैं थोड़ा सा mixed in between marketing and finance.
Right.
So the numbers and finance and P&L is not something that was very new to me. It was all something that I was not looking at when I was a marketer also. So I was more of a business manager kind of a marketer, but I was equally passionate.
एक तरह का marketer होता है जो finance से भाग कर बनता है marketer, because I don't want to do numbers, इसलिए मैं marketer बन जाता हूँ. Although of course that doesn't always work out, because there are numbers everywhere they're following. So
there's no right or wrong answer to your question, but my point is that the general managing director it depends what do you want to be, whatever you more passionate.
That's a great point. Industry, obviously it varies from industry to industry, and then of course there's no right path.
Yep.
Have you ever been bitten by the entrepreneurship bug?
Yeah.
And if you have, तो क्या किया? अरे यार मैं तो मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर हूँ, क्या करूँ मैं, अपनी स्टार्टअप फाउंडर कैसे बन सकता हूँ? कभी ऐसा हुआ है?
Not recently, but बहुत I think हर किसी के, because आपके करियर में फेजेस आते हैं, अप एंड डाउन आते हैं, और कुछ जगह पे आपके करियर में थोड़ी सी स्टेगनेंसी आती है ना, तो वहाँ पे आपका एंटरप्रेन्योर वाला जो है ना वो जाग जाता है कि यार मैं अपना तो वो आप कहते हैं कि नहीं यार मैं अपना बिजनेस भी कर सकता हूँ. सो देयर वाज अ टाइम आज से 7-8 साल पहले आई हैड दिस फोल्डर इन माय लैपटॉप जिसपे कम से कम मैंने 5 बिजनेसेस की फिजिबिलिटी की हुई थी.
अच्छा, यार मुझे भेजना है
13-14 13-14.
अच्छा
10 साल हो गए.
आई अपडेट द नंबर.
तो वो फिजिबिलिटी बनी होती थी, वो मतलब फिजिबिलिटी एंड टू एंड. अच्छा 13-14 के टाइम पे एक मैंने उस टाइम पे 14 में बनाई थी ये कि मैं नहीं कैसा नॉट गेट इनटू डिटेल्स ऑफ इट कि डिजिटलाइज किस तरह कर सकूँ रेस्टोरेंट के बिजनेस को एक्सेट्रा. बट फिर उसकी वो मेरा आई थिंक बीच में जैसे मैंने कहा ना आपके करियर में डिफरेंट फेजेस आते हैं, बट उससे पहले भी और उसके बाद भी देन आई वेंट थ्रू अ फास्ट पेस करियर ग्रोथ एंड प्रोग्रेशन पे वो दिमाग पे जो है इतना है नहीं, और अब तो काफ़ी टाइम से
अब आजकल वो
डोंट इवन गेट टाइम
बस वैसे नहीं आते हैं,
वो बस नहीं आते.
ओके, सो तो you're a young managing director, young GM. What is next for you? What is your aspiration?
What are my aspirations? So I think one part of my job that I really love about is the fact that the position or the way as a person, the impact you could bring on so many people, right? So be it the people in your organization, or be it your consumers, because in FMCG you deal with, and I shared a few numbers with you, billions of consumers. How could you inject more purpose around your brands, and how could you use the power of your brand to advocate something bigger, right? Positive change in the society too. What can you give back to your community as well? Maybe आपसे थोड़ी देर पहले बात कर रहा था before the interview that we have set up a solar plant in Pakistan, जो हमारा plant है हब पे, हम वहाँ पे 146 kilowatt का छोटा plant लगाया, and now we're putting up a 1.3 या 1.5 megawatts का solar plant. So and that would help us to eliminate carbon dioxide की जो emission है by, I don't exactly remember the number, but thousands of tons, right? So so ये कुछ चीज़ें होती है which really excites me, and I like to talk about these things as well. जैसे हम इंटरव्यू से पहले बात भी कर रहे थे. So anything that would help me to increase impact of the scope of the impact or the change that I can bring around the communities or my consumers or the people in my organization is something that would excite me.
So
Something that I want to achieve.
In practical term, what does that look like? Like, what is the next career progression? What is the next job for you? Let's just be more specific.
Year and a half into a role, honestly, this time around, and I'm someone who works with a lot of focus. And probably 2.5 to 4 हो जाएंगे. उसके बाद I'll start thinking about what is next for me. Of course, there's also a process in our organization whereby the organization grows people in with different work experiences. So, just to give you an example, the person that I have replaced in Moni's business, so right now, she's the managing director of 2 very important markets, Singapore and Malaysia. And then, of course, she'll grow accordingly in her career. She's very good in her work. So, probably, a different geography. So, it depends. So, there are different options available within the organization, how the organization grows. But honestly, it's not something that I have already started thinking about. मुझे ये cluster चाहिए, मुझे इन markets में जाना है, मुझे यहीं पे रहना है, वो करना है. Right now, the focus is on, and the macroeconomic situation in the country for the past 12 years, for the past few quarters.
Challenges to work on.
A lot of challenges on the plate. It's not that easy nowadays to operate the business with a lot of...
Can imagine. But speaking of that, speaking of difficult economy और यहाँ के जो मुश्किलात है पाकिस्तान में रहने की, तो काफ़ी सारे जो हम यंग लोग हैं, हमारे यंग लोग हैं, एंड पीपल ओल्डर आवर जनरेशन ऑल्सो, क्या सोच रहे हैं वो कि चलो कनाडा चलते हैं, चलो भाग जाते हैं, चलो ऑस्ट्रेलिया चलते हैं, लेट्स गेट आउट ऑफ हियर, anywhere but here, and it's very unfortunate.
It is.
तो आपके ख्याल में how do you judge the situation, and how do you what do you tell people honestly?
देखिए, these are tough times. No two questions about it, and especially with inflation soaring to 36-37% and 8%, increments not to the equal parity level पे नहीं है. So, but I feel it's a short-term cycle, and it will improve. I'll not get into details of what went wrong, what could have been done better. But if the country and all of us, we decide on the direction and we pick the right direction, then in a period of 3 to 4 quarters, things can be turned around big time. See, right now, what is the biggest challenge of our economy? The biggest challenge of our economy is that we are an import-based economy.
Okay.
What is the answer to that? The answer to that is that how can we accelerate our exports? One, how fast can we localize the materials that we are importing? The answer is, as the solution or the question problem statement को solve करने. The problem statement वो इतनी simple है.
ठीक है.
IT has a great opportunity from an export perspective. In 3 to 4 years' time, we have tripled our IT exports from $1 billion to $3 billion.
ठीक है.
You know the size of the IT exports of our neighboring countries. वहाँ बड़ा है export. Export अभी we are only focusing on one sector. And आप export की conversation आप सुनेंगे, आपको एक ही sector का नाम नजर आएगा. और सारा focus वही जाता है, which is textile, which is also 55 to 60% of exports. But there are other great export opportunities also. The economic revival plan that has been launched, it's a great one, right? From the perspective that it focuses on agriculture, mining and IT, and focuses on how can we accelerate and improve our exports from these sectors. अगर यहाँ से आपके रिजल्ट आना शुरू हो जाए, आपकी एक्सपोर्ट और आपका करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट बेहतर हो जाए, तो देन और कोई बड़ा इशू नहीं है. वहाँ से अगर आपके ये बैलेंस हो जाएगा, आपकी इंपोर्ट्स पे बेहतर भी हो जाएंगी, आपकी इंडस्ट्रीज रन करना शुरू हो जाएंगी. सो आई थिंक what and Pakistan has a GDP of about $300 billion plus GDP. This is the documented economy. The size of undocumented economy is perceived to be either equal or to be bigger than the documented economy. So we have a bigger economy as well as one of the reason also why, despite of whatever has happened, the चीजें अच्छी नहीं चल रही हैं, but अभी भी they're operational. So I would advise the youngsters and the youth to evaluate and assess that how could they contribute, and मेरा IT पे focus रखा था किसी वजह से, how could they contribute and how could they give back to the country, right? Example, freelance, IT, software development, etc. It's a big thing now. So if anyone who specializes in IT, think about it that while sitting in Pakistan, different projects that you could
What about people who don't specialize in IT? IT is a field that is growing globally.
IT is an example, right? IT is an example. Any other way, जो जिस चीज़ में आप specialize करते हैं, how could you give it back to the country? Something that you should think about.
सही. So, honestly, most people you meet these days, वो आजकल ये नहीं सोच रहे कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं, how to give back. I mean, people are thinking about their survival, about how they can thrive, on a microeconomic level, how they can thrive in these conditions. How should they be? मतलब उनको किस तरह से सोचना चाहिए? अभी तो इस तरह सोच रहे हैं, वो परेशान हैं, वो डिस्पेयर कर रहे हैं, वो डिसअपॉइंटेड हैं, नाउम्मीद हैं. देखिए क्या करें वो?
So this was IT की एक right? सही. And when I said there are many ways to contribute, so I'll further elaborate to my answer. So we are living in a global world, right? So it's not a country anymore. It's globalized, right? Everything is interconnected between countries. I don't see any harm, honestly, because I've lived out of Pakistan also for 3.5 years. I came back because of some personal reasons. Otherwise, I would have continued बाहर रहना. So बाहर रह के भी, if you're giving remittances of मुल्क में बाहर रहे, that's you serving your country in a manner. And we know the contribution of foreign remittances वो कितनी ज़्यादा है. But मेरी एक philosophy रही है ज़िंदगी की, और मैं I'll just share it here. जब मैं पाकिस्तान से बाहर भी नहीं गया था, मुझे 1-2 दफ़ा और भी इस तरह के कोई जॉब ऑफर्स आएँ कि आ जाएँ. But I was like कि नहीं यार, I'm not going to do these jobs. This does not fit well with the purpose that I have in my mind, the bigger long-term objectives that I have in my mind. और वो उस टाइम पे भी कोई, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ 2012-13 की पाकिस्तान की हालात कुछ अच्छे नहीं थे, if you remember, right? If you could recall, even अभी तो इकोनॉमी की क्राइसिस, उस दौरान में जब की क्राइसिस होते थे. But I used to think that क्या पाकिस्तान से बाहर जाना है, but I'll go to Pakistan out of the country when I'll find something satisfactory, something that would help me to achieve something, even bigger in my life. So my advice would be to the youngsters, so once you're able to grab that kind of opportunity, go and take it, right? But out of desperation चले जाना कि बस भागना ही भागना है, whatever work you are doing today, उससे 3 level नीचे चले जाके काम करना, you know what I mean, right? And I'll just share and how I think about it, right? मैंने हमेशा से अपनी इसमें set किया कि if I am going to go out, right, I'm going to go out on doing something which helps me to achieve my bigger plans and my dreams, and I've done that, and I've given you an example.
One last question: how has technology and especially AI changed marketing?
Technology, digitalization is a big thing in the organizations. Marketing may be our first party data collection. I'll show you what I've known about it. Not only in marketing, or digital spends, of course, with the passage of time have gone up their contribution. So the use of tools was very important, and you can be more the geo-targeted and attitude segmentations के साथ you can go to the consumers, which is specific or the potential buyers of a particular brand. It's not now on the basis of go for the reach and get 10% of your consumers. Just so you can save a lot.
Much better data, much richer.
Much better data, much better way to get being bullseye करके you can go to your consumers. Digitalization has impacted the sales operations as well. Digitalization is going to have a big impact on the supply chain of the businesses also. There are few tracks that we have initiated globally and regionally, and of course they'll go into the markets as well. So digitalization has started impacting the businesses in big ways. Digital commerce is rapidly growing. and this digital would have a bigger impact. So I was invited somewhere last month, और वहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे थे, तो वहाँ पे I just shared one thing, and I spoke about the generation Z, generation Alpha, and generation Y, and generation X, right? And you would know about it. So we are millennials. So people who were born in 70s and 80s are millennials, and people who are born in post 95 are Z, and 2010 के बाद जो born हुए हैं वो generation Alpha होते हैं. तो ये generation Alpha है, so they are growing up with digitalization all around them. Generation Z जो थी, they were the first generation who got the exposure of digitalization. जब ये सब आएंगे as a late tail of Generation Z and the start of Generation Alpha in making decisions, in driving on the driving seats as to मतलब हम और हमसे आगे जनरेशन वो पहले जनरेशन बैठी भी है, then the role of digitalization over a couple of years time would grow multifold. So digital commerce in FMCG even today is 5 to 6% of our total sales. Pakistan में 2% है. In the next 6 to 7 years, by before 2030, we are expecting that this would cross 20%, right? So which is going to be, very, very fast acceleration. So digitalization, not only from an AI and marketing perspective, it is now becoming equally important for all the functions, and then it is going to rapidly grow in the times to go.
I notice every time I get you to talk about just marketing, you talk about marketing, then you move to all other functions. I've noticed that.
Yes.
So, and okay, I said last question, but एक और भी सवाल है मेरे. Just quickly go through it. Through your career in marketing, what has been the most rewarding thing, and what has been the most challenging thing?
What has been in marketing? What has been some rewarding thing in what way?
Rewarding thing, just like something that has lit you up, something that causes you to work more passionately, something that allows you to...
So rewarding,
right?
Yeah, that's right. Got it. So I think the most rewarding, something that I really enjoyed, is this course in 2013. I was part of the team, and I was leading the team as well when we launched Oreo in Pakistan. I was very, very excited about launching world's #1 biscuit in the country, and in the way it was launched, and the recognition that it received, not only in Pakistan but also in our Maldives region, and it was a BIC, best in case launch, and this is how it was presented to many other markets, and for a brand like Oreo, it was the world's symbol brand. So I think that was very rewarding in many ways. I still think about those days, and the way I, along with the team, we all worked around it. And then this is something that comes to my mind spontaneously. Challenging as a marketeer, that's important. That's a good one. I've really enjoyed myself as a marketeer. I would not say anything that became very challenging, and I thrive on challenges. I tend to be the best when I'm when I'm exposed to the pressure, or आपका उस किस्म की situation आती है, like अभी भी एक business की जो पाकिस्तान में चल रही है. So it's not like that I've become stressed, and challenges, they excite me. So मैं जाके बैठता हूँ, and then we think, and now this is the situation, it is what it is. How do you manage it? And at the end of the day, when you even get out of different challenges in your professional career, you end up to be a better professional. So nothing from a marketing challenging perspective that comes to my mind right now.
There are challenges, but then you thrive on that also.
So not something like which I've kept that's very close to my heart or mind. कि वो challenge आया था वो मैं नहीं भूल सकता. जैसे आपने पूछा ना rewarding, so 8 out of 10 times I'll talk about Oreo launch, because this is the launch that I love doing it, and of course many other good projects as well, but that I thought had a very big impact on. Yeah. But from a challenging perspective, of course, there have been multiple 20-year के career में आपने बस 17 साल में marketing की होगी, तो बहुत challenges, एक challenge आ गया mind में. Why? So this was in 2016-17. So 16-17 was a very challenging year for the Gulf countries. That was a year when oil ki petrol prices from 120, 130, if I remember the numbers correctly, वो nose dive की थी to 60-70 dollar per barrel के ऊपर, जिसकी वजह से it was the first time that I saw that any country could also I saw, and of course historically है, but experience के बॉडी में से कह रहा हूँ कि जहाँ पे GDP कंट्री की नेगेटिव हो गई थी, जहाँ पे for the first time I saw कि किसी कंट्री की पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ भी नेगेटिव हो सकती है. उसका रीज़न ये था कि वो then they started imported कुछ taxations start हुए थे सऊदी में, they were not used to of taxations, और उस taxations की वजह से बहुत सारे expats जो थे, so they started leaving the country. तो पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ भी फ्लैट थी या कोई नेगेटिव थी, GDP नेगेटिव थी बिकॉज रेवेन्यू का ऑयल रेवेन्यू बेस्ड इकोनॉमी थी. अब तो खैर बहुत काफ़ी मिक्स बेहतर हो रहा है, मैं 16-17 की बात कर रहा हूँ. सो जो कैटेगरीज थी यानी बिस्किट्स, चॉकलेट्स एंड बेवरेजेस, कार्बोनेटेड ड्रिंक्स, उनकी कंजम्पशन आई सॉ फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम कि कोई कैटेगरी की कंजम्पशन 15-18-20% से डिक्लाइन भी हो सकती है. कैन यू इमेजिन कि अगर आज आपकी कोई कंजम्पशन है किसी चीज़ की, उसके लेवल अगर 100 लीटर्स पूरा कोई एक कम्युनिटी पानी पीती है तो वो 80 लीटर्स में चले जाए. सो आई सॉ इट फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम एंड वी सॉ द इम्पैक्ट कमिंग ऑन आवर कैटेगरीज एंड P&L as well. So I think that was one of the biggest one challenge. So it was a business challenge. It was a business challenge. It was a consumer challenge also, because the consumption was going down. But then you know that how still in these crises, how do you lift the spirit up, and what good news should you share with the broader organization? So one thing that we were able to do in the end was that we ended up gaining market share. So there was a news that the consumption has gone down. The consumption is going down of the category, but we are still getting market share. And we did few things, of course, is to make sure that in these crisis times there should be a good time. So that I would say was one of the most challenging part of my marketing career where I went through, and like what I've said, आप इस किस्म के challenges से जब गुजरते हैं और आप बाहर आके निकलते हैं, so आप बहुत बेहतर एक प्रोफेशन के तौर पे आप आ जाते हैं.
Thank you so much, Sami Wahid, for being on Kaam Kahani, and your Kaam Kahani is certainly a delightful and exciting one.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us time.
Thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed our conversation and your questions.
And thank you for watching Kaam Kahani. Till next time, let's meet with another Kaam Kahani. Till then, Khuda Hafiz.